Yes, some customers are only looking for the cheapest. They want the lowest price. But let's be honest, those probably aren't the customers that you want. Hey, and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV. In today's video, I want to talk about 4 ways you can make your construction business the obvious choice for your customers. So this is a topic I've been thinking about for a little while, and oftentimes I think we get into a sales process and let's be honest, you're often competing with 1, 2, or sometimes 3 other companies, as much as we don't want that to happen. It got me thinking, well, okay, how do we make it so that you become obvious and kind of that top choice in the customer's mind, so that even if you are competing, that you increase your likelihood of winning over that customer. So the first one is brand. And this is a pretty large topic, but I want to break it down into a few components. And if you think about brand, we're really talking about things like helpfulness, reliability, trustworthiness is a big one. So can people trust you? And what are we going to do to build trust throughout both the marketing and the sales process? So there are a few things that you can do really. And one is thinking about video and photography. So a lot of people will visit your website, and one of the first places they visit is your portfolio page, and they want to see what you've done. And so by showcasing really high quality work, you can start to build some trust and authority to say, hey, we're the kind of company that can execute on these types of projects. And I always think too, like the polished professional photography is really good to have, but if you can also build in some photos that have people, your team, ownership, the customers in some of those photos, that will level up that trust factor quite a bit. Because as you know, there's some great stock photography out there. So people could come and still have in the back of their minds like, hey, maybe this is just a bunch of stock photography. I think if you do a good job with photos, you can kind of bypass that a little bit. But having real people, especially your team in the photos, can go a long way. And then on the video front, definitely having your team, your staff in the videos, and then your customers in the videos is huge in terms of brand building, and when we think about things like building trust. The other thing that you can do is having helpful information. So a lot of times this takes the form in a blog. And so on that blog, you will educate your customers on things like the latest design trends and how long something takes, how much it costs, what they should expect at every stage of this process. And so as somebody's doing their research, they hit your website, they're seeing great photos, great videos, and they're learning from you and they're getting that education. That builds trust and some authority with them. The other thing that you can do is just get a lot of positive reviews from customers. If you can get them on video, that's the best, but written ones are great too. You could even get some audio if people aren't comfortable on video, but they're willing to jump on Zoom and just record the audio piece. That's another way, but obviously reviews on Google, on Facebook, and then putting some of those on your website and featuring them over there is a really powerful way. So that is the first thing that you can do to make your company the obvious choice, which is work on your brand. All right, let's move on to the second piece, which is having a great sales process. Now, this is an interesting one because you may be thinking, okay, what does this have to do with becoming the obvious choice? But it really supports some of the things we talked about with brand. So when people are starting to experience you online, so they're looking at your website, they're looking at your Instagram, they're seeing the photos, the videos, maybe your team page, they're getting kind of a flavor for who you are. When you move into the sales process, you want that to be really congruent with what they've been experiencing online. So you want to have somebody that picks up the phone and answers it really professionally and politely, and they move into the next step really smoothly, and there's education along the way. So at every step, you're telling the customer, hey, here's what we're going to do at this step, and if you're wanting to move on, here's what the next step looks like, and then here's what we're going to do here, and then we're going to move on to the next phase. And so if you're communicating through that process, through that sales process, asking lots of great questions to uncover what that customer is really trying to accomplish with this project, again, you're building trust and authority through a great sales process. The third thing you can do is a little bit counterintuitive, which is don't be the cheapest. And the reason I say this is because if you're the cheapest, a lot of times that comes with a stigma. Maybe the quality is not going to be there. And yes, some customers are only looking for the cheapest. They want the lowest price. But let's be honest, those probably aren't the customers that you want. You want customers that are willing to pay more because they're looking for quality and they're looking for service. They're looking for somebody to educate them, walk them through the process, make sure it's smooth, make sure that, when problems come up, they're resolved and problems are, cut to a minimum because they've been there and done that before. So you actually don't want to be the cheapest, and that is something that can make you the obvious choice and the obvious choice for your customers. It may make you, an obvious choice to eliminate for some customers because they're just looking for the low-cost provider. Great, we want those people to go away. So don't be the cheapest. And then finally, make it easy, right? If you think about brands that we all like to work with, and especially thinking about today with things like Carvana, where they just make it so darn easy to get to the finished product. That's what you want to think about as you're exploring, what does this process look like for my customer as they're doing research, as they're finding me online, as they're going through my sales process. So, answering all the questions, having helpful information on your website, doing all those things you can do to make it easy, showing them the next step, making the next step very easy to take. Hey, if you want to move on to the next phase, this is all you need to do. Hey, this is a little bit of homework, but hey, it's just 1, 2, or 3 little things, and then boom, we can be set up here. Hey, if you want to take the next step, it's just a quick deposit, and then we're going to do all the legwork and bring you back a design. Whatever that looks like, just how can you make it easy? That's one of the reasons I think Amazon has done so well with Amazon Prime and their ordering process. You literally can just type in anything, make a couple of clicks, something shows up the afternoon or tomorrow, and that is just easy. And so whether you like them or you hate them, it doesn't really matter, because what we're talking about is how do we create a brand and a company that becomes the obvious choice for our customers. And generally, the easier things are, the more likely people are to go down that path of least resistance. All right, guys, that's what I got for you today. 4 steps to making your company the obvious choice for your customer's next project. We'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.